Behold, the cold open. I don't really talk much about my piano playing journey. I've been playing piano regularly, learning it for I think around kind of close to 3 years now. I think it'll be 3 years in February. I don't talk about it much because you either have to talk about it in terms so broad that it's meaningless, or so specific that no one but me could care. Suffice it to say, I'm still bad but improving. The reason I want to talk about it at all right now, though, is a couple months ago I had a makeup lesson, or rather a lesson with a makeup teacher. My teacher couldn't make it. She was out of town. So she's like, you're going to be paying for this lesson anyway.
This is a stranger.
Yeah. Like, I know this guy's a good teacher. His students do great, so it'll be fine. And then you won't be having to because you don't pay by lesson. It's like monthly. So if you miss a lesson, you still have to pay the same amount. So you want another lesson. And this guy's a new guy. This is not the point of the story, but it was a useless lesson because what was happening was he didn't know who I was or where I was or what sort of progress I'd made or what I've improved at and what I'm struggling with. So it was a useless hour. However, an incredible thing occurred during it, which is, so I was at that time playing, I was working on the theme from Porco Rosso in the Ghibli book, yeah? And he's like, I'm not familiar with this piece. Let me look at it. And he was like looking at it. He played it through a little bit. He's like, oh, this is very interesting. Oh, yes. This is a lovely piece. And, in many ways it reminds me of WC. And I'm like, what did you just say to me?
Water
like,
closet?
Yes. Dude, I was like, is this... He sure as hell didn't say WC. He's like, yes. If you listen to WC, you'll notice many... And I'm just like, do you mean the bathroom? Do you mean going to the toilet, my buddy? And he's like, WC, yes, WC. Everyone knows when you listen to WC, this is the kind of thing you'll hear, and you hear it here. And he moved on. I didn't want to be the idiot and say, what are you talking about?
No, hey, I have a question. What the fuck are you saying?
So I let him move on. And then about 5 minutes before the hour was up, I was thinking again about WC. WC? What the fuck? What are you talking about WC for? And then I had a revelation that it's a miracle I didn't say this out loud. Oh! You're talking about Debussy! Hello, everybody. Welcome to Anime Sickos. It's the podcast for geniuses and the only podcast where we take a look at the four pillars of modern misery: anime, gaming, posting, and jobs. I am Tom, an anime sicko.
I am Joe, an anime sicko.
We have one patron to thank. This one has a funny name. This new patron is called I Gotta Stop Letting My Debit Cards Expire. I have an inkling they already patronized us.
That's true. Everyone should. It's annoying when it happens. It's good that you made your name that, so you'll be reminded.
I totally agree. In fact, everyone should change their name legally to be like a little to-do list so that you don't forget stuff.
My middle name is my pin. That's fine.
Joe, how's the little critter? How is Ivan the
critter?
boy? He's cute. He's 2 months old.
He is very cute. He is 2 months old. We have been doing the very fun thing where you take a picture of, him next to a little sign that says 2 months. We did that for 1 month. What was fun about 2 months when we did it is that every time we staged him for the picture, dude, he looked so morose. He looked just like the one that we have for historical purposes is one where he's like sticking his tongue out and it's like, oh, it's kind of cute. It's like, no, like he looks so sullen in all the other ones. That is my boy.
He was
sure.
like, another month of this. Wait, you telling me this keeps this is I thought this was just 1 month and then I'd go into like a different water filled container.
Yeah, and then the other thing that happened on the baby front is my mom came by and she was like, can I get some practice watching him so I can, watch him solo. He can show me the ropes. And, like, the answer is, of course, yes. But, like, in my mind, like, my mother, like, knows everything about child raising and, like, anything domestic. So the idea that she needed to, like, come over to hear from me seemed very strange.
Yeah, it's just like, unless there's a sibling disaster that I don't know about, you know how to handle this.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, your brother Joshy, he, well, let's just say I didn't hold him quite right.
But yeah, he just had his best night in terms of, like, continuous sleep, which is awesome.
Oh, hell
yeah, which is a big morale booster for us as well. Not that he was doing particularly poorly, but let's face it, the longer the baby sleeps, the more points you get, and I want all the points.
It's one of those. It's one of those increasing multipliers. Like, if you get 10 in a row, then it goes to times 2, and then you get 20 in a row, goes to times 3, and then you get 50 in a row, goes to times 4. So, like, yeah, the streak. It's exponential growth of morality. It's becoming extremely moral, is what I'm learning. And also, my understanding is he's growing as a child should, but only in density.
Yeah, he has the Superman syndrome, like from Kengan, when it was like, this baby was born 40 pounds. He's just really strong. My mom was like, are babies normally this strong? And I was like, I don't think so. And this isn't me being like, I'm bragging, I have such a strong son. I'm like, confused.
Joe is not the type of guy who's like measures the value of a man by their masculine strength. It's like, no, like, I am scared. Why is my boy know so many techniques?
Yeah, we at his recent pediatric visit, he did tummy time to check, neck and back strength and everything, and he, like, just did an insane push-up, and the doctor was like, that is like a 4-month sort of head support thing at 2 months. And I was like, yes, he's strong. Jesus. I don't know why. Will he overthrow me, doctor? Can you tell me that?
You know what it is? You know what I'm getting the vibes of? Is when you're playing a JRPG and you either get a guest party member or a new party member joins, and you're like, all right, let's see what this guy's deal is. And you open up, like, the menu screen, and it's like, here's my main guy, level 10. My healer, level 10. My tank, level 10. And the new guy, level 15. Like, whoa, 15. Was that supposed to be 15? Like, that's Ivan's the level 15 guy.
Yeah. So he will continue to probably get strong and develop Nen powers. I think that is the next stage in strength evolution. It's like, you have to be Nen attuned. I also had a dream on the Nen front, which is that my Nen power that I have, and it wasn't like the strongest one in, like, the world, but, like, everyone was like, you got to be careful with Joe, because, like, if you fight him in the arena, his power will be an issue. And it was, I could manifest a bucket around your foot, and then people, like, fall or just, like, clomp around.
Everyone knows that one of the main things about combat is footwork, and just you try to be fleet and airy. If you got a bucket on he damn foot, you can't do it. That's really good. That's like,
I can see the manga panels in my head, which is like the guy being like, when did the bucket get on my foot?
And then, like, they do an incredible move to, like, dodge and, like, buy time, and they pull the bucket off, and they're like, all right, now I can get back to, and they look down, they're like, oh fuck, oh, it's back. This is why Hunter x Hunter is so good and why Nen is so good, because and you also could have this be a stand. Fucking Buckethead, he's a musician. Okay, but it's Foot. Sometimes they're not 1-to-1 folks, but, like, these mangas where, like, the powers are so diffuse, and, like, what you think might be weak actually, if utilized correctly, can be devastating.
I love that shit. Just, like, this very basic thing. A bucket.
Yeah. I think it's so funny that in, like, when Nen was just introduced, there was a guy in the arena whose power was that he could split himself into 2 guys. And then Hisoka, like, rinsed him, and they were explaining, like, how come that guy died even though there's 2 of him? And it's just like, because, okay, making 2 of you is a conjuration power, and he was an emitter, which is the opposite of conjuration. So he
Yeah.
was using like way too much gas to go.
He was a
10
white
miles per
mage
hour.
trying to nuke with black magic. It didn't work.
Yeah, and it's just like, man, how come nobody told that guy?
His brilliant strategy of splitting into two guys was defeated because didn't Hisoka just make one of them dirty, and he was like, okay, I'm going to follow that one.
I don't remember. It's well, wasn't that also where like he let his own arm get cut off, and
Yes,
then
so he could stick it to the ceiling
arm,
and make everyone freak out.
Yeah, and then his arm like he made the gum turn off, so his arm fell off the ceiling and like punched him in the face. And I'm like, where'd that arm come from?
Right. This was beautiful because at this time the boys were learning Nen, so they were like watching this on TV, and the guy was like, "Can you use your special eyes to see what's happening?"
Oh my god, it's Encyclopedia Brown. It's like, how did Hisoka know about the arm?
Yeah.
Folks, we got to talk about. So it's been a long time since we've talked about some gaming that we've both done, and it's because Joe isn't able to get into like long form games, both because of his brain and because of now Ivan.
I'm locked in harder than I've ever been into games that have runs. If there's a timer and I can know when it ends, Death Must Die has a timer at the beginning. I know 20 minutes is when Dracula shows up. It's really nice to have that consistency when you got a baby.
And that totally makes sense. I understand that, but it kind of doesn't. We don't have our gaming tastes mesh that often, so we can't really talk about gaming on the show. But lately, we've gotten an incredible new game. Actually, Joe got me this game for Christmas because I saw it at his house. I saw he was playing this game on this new console, and I'm like, this is incredible. And what a thoughtful friend. What should arrive for my Christmas present but that very thing that I said was cool. And after having played it in my own home, I gotta agree that it is definitely one of the most incredible gaming machines of all time. What am I waiting for? What am I being coy for? I'm talking about a portable induction cooktop. It makes cooking gaming.
It's so much more fun than the oven. It just is. It's a gizmo. No, sorry, excuse me. It's a doodad.
It's a doodad for sure. When you use the stove normal, you start a little fire in your house. And I don't know if you know this about fire, but it creates poison air that goes in your fucking body. So I've been trying to like not do that. And when we go to like look at possible condos, I'm always like, does this place have the wiring, like the outlet in place to have an induction stove? Every single agent is just like, what are you fucking saying to me? Like, what is, like, they get angry and they think I'm like speaking foreign, and they're like, we don't want no damn foreigners in our neighborhood. Which is astonishing because didn't they read the articles? Anyway, it's so fucking fun. Here's why it's gaming. One, what is a more gamer event than deriving joy by purchasing a Chinese device that technically has no functions that were not already available to you? This is pure Anbernic.
That's key. Like, you could heat up stuff in your home before. This is not a new industrial capacity for your household.
And it's also like people say like, oh, induction stoves, you know what's so great about them is that they can boil water in no time flat, like nothing. Well, the reason that they are able to do that is because they're using 240 volts of electricity shooting straight into the water with like hardly any waste. Astronomically little waste compared to a fucking gas flame. Well, the fucking portable ones, they plug into a normal outlet that shoots out 120 volts. So that shit, it ain't any faster. It's the same speed. However, I love it. Like, it's way better in every way. You know what it kind of is like? I was talking to you about this. I was talking about my fucking vinyl records before we started recording, and I'm like, vinyl records are like an objectively like a stupid and idiotic way to listen to music. Like, it's just downside. But like,
This was in the context of you having to clean them.
Yeah, because I got for Christmas a record washer. It's a little reservoir of water that you put like some soap in, and there's two brushes that are clamped together, and you stick a record in the middle and spin, spin, spin. And I did it for all of them. It took me like 2 hours. I loved it. It was such a meditative experience. And I'm just like, it's so dumb. I can listen to music on my fucking phone. What am I doing? But like, I love having a little thing to do.
It is a rock tumbler for music guys.
Yeah, and similarly, you could turn on your stove, or you could open up the cabinet and pull out your little induction cooktop and go hee 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 and plug it in and turn it on. And this is the other thing that makes it gaming. Joe, what happens when you turn it on? What do you hear when you turn it on?
You get spaceship sounds. It's awesome. And the reason you get spaceship sounds is because lightning is better than fire. We know this from Avatar because, like, when is it the second stage of firebending, you can shoot lightning?
Yes, yeah, you purify fire.
Correct. And the reason it heats up water so fast is because lightning is strong against water. Fire is weak against water. It's obvious why the induction wins. But yes, it's so just like this robot sort of like farting noise. I don't really know what else to call it. There is a you know what it sounds like? Kind of like the Mr. Show theme.
Yeah. I was thinking, I said Mr. Show theme before, and I'm just like, no, there's something else. And I'm like, it's the Doctor Who theme. It's like that. That's what it sounds like. It's
a wonderful October device because it adds spookiness to everything in your kitchen.
Yo, that's true. You can put here's what you do. You get some like hot spiced apple cider. You put it in a big pot. You put it on top of that, and you set it to simmer. You got ghosts. All day, and then also you got hot cider. You give someone a ladle of that delicious stuff. Here's okay. There actually is one function I didn't have before. You gave me a long time ago your mocha pot because it was the wrong size. But it's the right size for me because it's a 3-cup pot. And so what that means is that me and my wife both get a 1.5 cup of coffee every morning because I just split it in two. And it's great. We love it. Here's the thing, though. I have one of those stoves that's like, this is like a chef's rugged stove, you know? This is for like great chef. But basically what that means is that low is medium, medium is high, and high is
power boil.
Yeah, like high you'd never use. But the fucking burner itself is bigger around than the base of the mocha pot. So what I'd have to do is I would have to like have the mocha pot be over like 1/4 of the ring, and then like 3/4 of the ring is just shooting straight up into my house, killing me. Now I put that shit on the induction cooktop. I had to get this little adapter, which is just a little disc of stainless steel with a handle. I put that shit on the induction cooktop. Perfect. Every time. Takes like 2 minutes. I love it. It's so much better, and I'm not breathing in flame. Okay, the third reason that this is gaming is that there's a Noctua case fan in there.
For sure. And it is indistinguishable from a PC fan. You turn it off, and that sucker's still going because it's got to cool down.
Sometimes I think I'm going to unplug it and put it away, but I'm like, no, I can't unplug it because then the fan would go down, and obviously it needs the fan to be on because that's why it's on. It knows when it needs to be on, Tom. Next reason that this is gaming is that if you talk to someone normal about it, they're going to make you go sound insane. You're going to sound crazy.
Because the pitch is essentially heating something up, something they're well aware how to do. And every one has an oven. So it is really a redundant pitch for most people. Yeah. The other thing is people, because as you had said earlier, there was like stories and research about just gas stoves having, negative externalities in general. And the response to that has generally been, if you try to take my gas stove, I'll kill you.
Yeah.
So that is another element here that makes, I think, people bounce off of it.
Also, I mean, I think that sort of the conventional wisdom for most of forever is that like real chefs, if you really want to do serious cooking, you need gas. Gas is the way. And induction sort of has the vibe of like Impossible Meat, where it's like, it's better for everybody, for the environment and for the world. And it's fine. It's like fine. Like it's not, I mean, it's not as good, but it's like fine. It's not bad. Like it's fine. And people think, so, because it has that vibe, people think, like, it's fine. Like, no, it's objectively better in every way. Like, gas is absolutely terrible in comparison to this. I love the induction. It's so good. It's so good.
Have you cooked with your Dutch oven on it yet? Because that fucking rules.
All the time.
Yeah,
Dude,
okay, cool.
all the time. So anything that I have to simmer for a long time on the stove with the Dutch oven, and I love that you're conflating stove and oven every time you say oven when you mean stove.
I'm standing in the same place either way, whether I'm operating stove or oven.
Can't argue with that. Yeah, with if I had to simmer something on the Dutch oven on the fucking gas cooktop, I had to be getting up and stirring that shit constantly, because if I let that go for more than like half an hour, the bottom's burning. No matter what, no matter how low I go, bottom's burning for sure. This, I just put it on 1, and I can let it bubble all day. And I made apple butter on it, bubbled all day. No burn. I loved it. Next reason this makes is this is gaming. You recall earlier that I just knew off the top of my head the voltage that that the induction stove uses, and
it makes you a specs guy. You know what everything's rated for. This is a silver rated power supplies. Yeah. So that is the issue. That's the only negative.
Yeah. I mean, gaming's good and bad. I'm not gonna say it's always good. This is why it's a modern misery pillar. And I know you've mentioned, of course, that like the reason we both are interested in this is because like it's crazy unhealthy to have a fucking gas flame.
The health thing
in your home
doesn't really move the needle for me personally. It's just the doodad is so much more fun. Like, obviously the health benefits are what they are, but like, I love this little sucker.
Okay. So yeah, for you it's secondary.
How much Garfield water have I drank, man? Like, I don't think gas at this point.
Well, I mean, Ivan hasn't drank any Garfield water. He's got a clean slate. Keep it clean.
Except for microplastics, which are probably in all of them.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, all the headlines I've read have been value neutral, like microplastics found in the human heart. Maybe that means the human heart is stronger than ever now. Plastic. I don't know if you ever tried this, Joe, but if you have a little really thin, like really pounded thin steak, if you try to rip it in half, you can do it easily. If you have a milk jug made of plastic, same thickness, even thinner actually, you try to tear that in half, you can't do it. The human heart is now stronger than ever is what I'm hearing. Anyway, for me, the primary value add was it doesn't kill you. And after having used it, that's now neck and neck equal. Like, it's better for you, and it's just better, period. However, it's too good. And as a result, I'm always fearful that, like, any day there's going to be the big story that's like induction stoves found to induce magnet madness, way worse than breathing gas. Get those magnets out of here.
We don't know how it happened, but you have mercury poison. That sucks for you.
We're the anime Sickos, and we're here to say anime is bad in a war crimes way.
Folks, we've done a running joke for a while now where we pretend like we really need to do a new recurring signature segment that fills up little space, because you have a lot of ideas that can't fill an entire hour.
Chase the dragon that was the fruit tournament,
Yeah. Just something to fill the gaps. So if we have an idea that's not quite there, that's not like a bad thing. Because sometimes it's a bad thing. Cause it's just like we have an idea, but it's not quite there. So like we're at 0 for the new episode. Fuck. But for a long time, we've been doing a running bit where we pretend like we've been really working hard, making a new thing, and turns out it's just Queen Watch. Well, that was all cover for us really doing that, because we have put a ton of work into this new segment. I think it's going to go for like 2 or 3 installments, and then we should be done based on what we got so far. But it's also sort of modular. Like, we could do a 4th. If it really went well, we could do a 4th.
I am, frankly, very excited about this.
Yes, and like honestly, I think that it's gonna be like the signature segment for Anime Sickos. Like when you think of Anime Sickos, you're gonna think of this, and it's actually gonna do three things. The first thing you're gonna think of
Is two cuties
new era.
with great hogs.
Two cuties with great hogs, new era. They're really shining. Two, you're gonna think this is so out of their wheelhouse, but at the same time, now that I hear it, it's like this is what I wanted all along. And the third, I don't remember what the third was. Rule of threes. So, without further ado, I'm going to have to introduce the segment, which is going to be called Queen Watch.
We're kidding. We're kidding. What we're going to do instead is our life's greatest work, which is rank every single game mechanic.
That is correct, Joe. I have open in front of me a tier maker tier list with tiers from S down to F. And we also have a big list of every game mechanic we could think of.
No, ever made. Not we could think of. We got them all.
That's true. That's true. Well, I mean, they're the same. We can think of all the ones we can think of as all of them because we're geniuses who
oh, okay. Yeah.
have every piece of information in our heads. So yeah, we're gonna fucking rank them into tiers. So I mean, what am I waiting for? But let's pick the first mechanic that we are going to judge. And Joe, I think we got to start from square one with jump. The mechanic is jump.
Jump.
What do you think about jump? Where are you feeling about jump?
It's one of the better ways to get vertical distance for sure.
Yeah.
I feel like jumping is so ingrained into video games as like it. Everything is jumping based. Mario jumps.
It really punches above its weight in terms of like things that, like you don't jump. How often do you jump in real life? Like never. And yet video games, it's like jump is like what you gotta have jump. Like first things first. This is the button for jumping. And it's just like I haven't jumped over a pit.
And jumping doesn't even have to be like useful. Just doing it is fun. The perfect example is like WoW was the first MMO I played where you could jump, and like the jumping like didn't do anything. Like you just jump, like you don't go anywhere. It's not like you're platforming, but like just constantly jumping.
Could you jump over shockwave attacks, or was it really just
I'm sure
for fun?
That was a thing later, but it was just like the fact that your little MMO guy can constantly be bunny hopping. It felt good. And I also think we are, as gamers, conditioned to believe that someone bunny hopping is moving faster, even when they're not.
Yeah. I hadn't even thought about bunny hopping. In fact, let me add that to the list of game mechanics that we're gonna go ahead and add that in, probably in the second or final installment. Right now, we're looking at jumping straight up. I agree with all you're saying here. Jumping, I mean, Mario is one of the greatest guys of all time on the computer. And all he does is jump. If you want to be the alternative sexual archetype of fastest Mario, jumping is non-negotiable. And also it's like, it's very versatile. You can do a lot with it.
I propose B tier, and this is why I don't say higher. It's not fresh, man. We've been jumping since the 80s. And although it is important and a staple, it is not really getting innovated.
Yeah, I can see that. It's not even like a abstract thing. Like, oh, you can perfect jumping pretty soon. Like, they did perfect jumping pretty quick with fucking Mario. Super Mario Brothers. The jumping is like, this is how it's got to be forever now. This is it.
Precision platforming, yeah.
Also, I think the reason it's B and not higher, and I agree with you, is that you can have jumping that fucking sucks. For example, to stick with Mario, how Mario jumps in the Donkey Kong arcade game feels like I hate it. Like I hate playing that game. Like the physical experience of playing the Donkey Kong arcade game hurts me.
It feels like he's wearing leg braces.
It does, and he dies when he fucking falls, which is no good. I'm thinking it's B for sure. B tier for jumping.
Okay, what do we got next?
Okay, this is gonna be double jump.
Okay, so this one makes jump look like shit. It's at least better than B.
For sure. I mean, I'm gonna say At the very least, twice as good. But I think this is a double jump is have more than the sum of its parts type thing, in my opinion.
Can I add some supporting data to exactly that?
Gimme.
Which is, regardless of other game mechanics or what a Metroidvania is doing elsewhere in terms of design or whatever, the actual thing that matters is that the game is divided into two halves. It's pre-double jump and post-double jump.
Yes. And if you are one of those game design heads who's dryly analyzing the design docs and like, well, I don't understand. It is simply another key to be used in specific locks, the same as any other power up. Well, but that's, I guess, true in that, like, there are places you can't go until you have the double jump, and there are also places you can't go until you have the power bombs. It's the same. No, here's why. Because, like we said, jumping is just fun to do when you're walking around just a flat ground. You're just jumping because it's fun to watch your guy jump around. And
you have one more fidget.
Pressing a button.
Like when you're walking normally, you can jump whenever. There's your fidget. When you have a double jump, you got a double fidget.
Mm-hmm. And when you are going up platforming areas that are designed for single jumps that you've been up numerous times, that's just so much easier now. You can do it fast.
I vote A.
I'm thinking A.
Yeah.
Consider also this. So one of the things we love is the like baby's joke. Like this is like a true idiot's joke of like, what if the video game thing were in real life? Ha ha ha. Calmly explaining that someone can double jump in real life is like,
or just being like, I'm training to double jump. Like I've been really practicing.
Yes.
By 2025, I will double jump.
Our buddy Cameron, the listener, he was on the Guesto to Guesto episode. Cameron, who does the Nothing Doing comic, has a great comic about a guy who could double jump in real life. And I'm just like, again, this is like a fucking, you show me a coin, you put a handkerchief over the coin, you lift the handkerchief and the coin's gone. I know what you did, but I still am gonna go like that. It's so good, and it's so much funny to say like, oh, this guy can jump. I'm training to jump. It's like, yeah, I bet you are. I'm training to double jump, and I'll do it by 2025. That's funny.
Yeah, most people train to jump by pushing off the ground, but what he's doing is he's practicing pushing off nothing.
I think that one of the best jobs. I mean, there are no jobs in gaming. They're all layoffs in development. But if there were jobs in gaming, I would think the job that I would most want to have is the guy in charge of figuring out the effect, like the visual effect of the double jump. Like, what is happening there? Because you have to animate something so that you know that you did it. But like, where's this dust coming from?
I'm glad you said the dust, because that is one I actually respect the most when there's like no effect. It just fucking happens. A wing that shows up briefly is also a nice choice.
That's good. You know what's interesting? I actually don't know this. I haven't done the research and I don't care to. But you know how Samus has like boosters on her bag? Were those ever like visually used to show her double jumping before Smash Brothers?
I don't know.
Because I know they do that in Smash Brothers.
Right, because she like has a little burst from her backpack and then has a spinning second jump, right?
Yeah, no, you're right. Yes. Because like I don't know which I like better, having like a diegetic in-universe reason why you can double jump like that, or again, just like you jump again and there's a little puff of dust in the air.
The best reason is that you have a special feather now, and it lets you do it.
You have a special feather. That's pretty good. Okay. Joe, I actually am considering putting it in S tier, and I think it's crazy. It sounds crazy to put something in S this early, but consider this. Imagine if you're playing a Metroidvania and you're liking it, and you're encountering new power-ups, and you're able to go to more places. What would you feel if like you started to realize, like you see your percentage counter and you're like, oh shit, I'm like 2/3 of the way through the game. I'm 70% of the way through the game. I'm like 80% of the way through the game. What if you saw all that and you didn't have the double jump yet, and you eventually had the deadening, sickening realization that this is a Metroidvania with no double jump?
Oh,
How would
fuck.
that make you feel?
Oh, fuck, that'd be gross. There's some very...
It'd be gross.
I'm thinking of like... Yeah, it would be gross. The word is gross, and it wouldn't be Christian, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I'm thinking S. Are you gonna talk me down to A, or are we doing this?
I do not wish to talk you down to A on the basis that basically every fucking time I start a game that will eventually have double jump, immediately I'm like, I missed the double jump that I know I'm going to get. So S is my vote as well.
Okay, sounds good. Let's stick with the movement theme. Next one's gonna be a dash. A sliding dash on the ground. I mean, it doesn't have to be sliding, but it's a ground-based dash. Dashing. What do you think about dashes?
I would put these at A, and the reason I would do that is I am thinking Mega Man X, and the Mega Man X games have a very rewarding dash because he is quick and he gets lower. Because you know, like classic Mega Man, the way you would have to get under like a boss who's jumping at you at sort of a lower trajectory is you have to do that goofy down A slide. The dash is so much better. The Mega Man X dash is so much better. Plus, you can seamlessly transition into a wall kick. Not unlike double jump. When you don't have dash, you're like, where's Poochie, aka Dash? I need it.
Are you telling me that I never played any Mega Mans or X's? Are you telling me that Mega Man X has like hitbox so precise that if like a bullet was coming at you and the sliding dash had your little guy be under it, it doesn't hit anyway?
Yeah, you should see the animation for Mega Man X dashing because like he gets low. Like he's locked in, man.
Mega Man X dash. How do I dash in Mega Man X? What if you could dash at the start of Mega Man X? I don't know.
Yeah, so that's the only one where you don't start with the dash, but you get it like right away in Chill Penguin stage. Okay. If you don't go to Chill Penguin stage, you're basically a moron.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah. And also, when you dash and shoot at the same time, he's like obviously like low to the ground, and he's got his old gun arm out blasting.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, I'm with you. I'm feeling what you're putting down about slide and dashes. Here's my counter. And I'm countering, but like this is devil's advocate. I'm not actually advocating we push it down any further. I'm just like want to make sure that you are taking this into account when you say A tier. What happens when the dash is so much faster than normal walking, and the recovery is so fast that it becomes basically required if you don't want to be the big idiot of all time to constantly dash for the entire game. I'm thinking about Castlevania, the GBA game where you play the guy with white hair. If you are not dashing constantly, it feels like you are in the swamp. And like that gets tiresome. I mean, the thing about jump being a fidget is that it doesn't do anything in terms of like getting you around faster. It's entirely just for you. It's a fun thing for you that you can do at your discretion. Having the sliding dash speed you up, it feels like work, you know? I have to keep this up. Like I can't stop dashing.
I'm reminded of all of the various like speed runs of Symphony of the Night, and it's not even dashing in that, it's back dashing, which is stupider. Okay. I could be talked down to a B.
I mean, B is good. Let's again, we're going S, A, B, C, D, E, F tier. F tier is a thing that should never be in any game. E tier, I think, is like, we can think of one implementation that has some value. D is like crappy. C is neutral. B is good, generally in all circumstances.
I would describe D as it's a mechanic you like tolerate. Like you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I could see. I'm cool with sliding dash in B.
let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. Next up, we're gonna do air dash.
I'm not gonna yank your dick here, Tom. Air dash makes regular dash look like shit.
If you don't have your air dash, every time you jump, you say, "Where's my air dash?"
It's true.
Why
Hollow
don't I have my
Knight,
air dash yet?
the Hollow Knight, man. That is a perfect example of a game that needs an air dash sooner. Because until you get it, the game feels like you're just like, I don't know. It's like you're stuck a little bit in molasses. So like you are not as nimble as you want to be.
It feels kind of like the subspace emissary from Brawl, because
Yes,
like
correct.
the platforms are set up in a certain way, but if you're Donkey Kong, like, well, the platforms aren't right. Like, I can't jump like that.
Yeah. So that is my take on that. This is also an opinion I share. Tom likes to listen, or used to, when you actually went into an office. You don't do this now because you have your own home and your own sounds and your own environment. But there's a YouTuber that has my name. It's Joe Anderson, and he just does these really dry...
Joseph Anderson.
Yeah, he does these very dry analysis of like game mechanics or like why something is well made, and he basically did like 2 hours about Hollow Knight. And if we could boil all of that content down into a simple statement, which was, man, I need that air dash sooner.
Yep, and he's right, dude.
No, he's
I
absolutely
made fun of him because I mean he's right. The reason I listened to his video, I don't say watch because it's all just game footage, so I just put it. I don't need to look at that. The reason I listened to his videos was because I found it very funny that this guy who speaks with absolutely no affect, he is the flattest voice of all time. Like, he is he sounds like an accountant that you paid a fucking $5 on Cameo to like read these video game words, and he just is like, can I be done with this? He sounds like that, and he gets like it's insane how into the weeds he gets with the things he nitpicks about. Like, he will for like one of his Dark Souls videos, he like spent a couple of minutes about like one boss's grab attack has an inconsistent hitbox. Look at this footage frame by frame. This is the frame where the grab is considered to be hitting, and I am in the grab animation. As you can see, I am over 2 feet away from his arm, and it's just like...
To be honest, I would find this annoying, but something about, I think, his no affect that I'm charmed by it. I don't know.
If he was like the epic gamer being like, what were you thinking, FromSoft?
That
what
throw
is
is
this?
bullshit.
That would
Yeah,
be...
yeah.
awful. But he's just like, it's like you opened up you know what it's like? He has the same sort of thing as like a mechanic, and he like opens up the fucking hood of the car and be like, this bolt, or rather this fan belt is very worn, it may snap at any time. It would be better if this was a new fan belt. Like, that's what it is.
Yeah.
I will say though that he had like the most incredible redemption arc of all time. I watched his recent video about the lies of P, and he said at the beginning, he's like, I've started to realize that a lot of people think of me as the nitpicking gamer who talks shit about all the games I love. What you need to understand is that I only make a video about a game if I love it like so dearly. And the way I've always written them is I talk about why the game is good at the beginning, and then I feel like it's sort of self-evident. I get that out of the way. And then I get into my criticisms that I've like analyzed, and I found the little things that could be better. And to me, this doesn't sound negative at all. But I realize upon reflection that what that means is that I have a 2-hour video with 5 minutes of good things and
Correct,
an hour and
yes.
55 minutes of why it sucks shit.
Yes.
And so for his Lies of P video, he talked about the things he didn't like first, and then went into why he liked it. And it's like, oh my, like, it is crazy how different the tone is. Anyway. Air dash, you got to get that shit sooner. Yeah. I love air dashing. It's also very funny because, like double jump, it is a fake thing. Like, it is impossible to do. And
if you are not constantly cycling through jump, double jump, air dash, jump, double jump, air dash, are you even a gamer?
You are not. Joe, I put this to you. Is the dive move from 3D Mario an air dash?
No, that's like a suicide. That's very confusing. every time I've used that, I've just like launched myself off the stage. I don't think it's an air dash. Are we talking about the thing the cat suit does, like when you jump?
No, that's not. Well, that's technically 3D Mario. Well, did you play Mario Odyssey?
Yes.
Remember when you throw your cap out in the air and he sort of sits there and you dive forward and you boop, bounce off of the cap?
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Did you? That's that. And he does that in Mario 64 too, but without the cap. Obviously, it's better with the cap.
Can I reveal some biases I have?
No, you can't. Yes, go ahead.
To me, when I think dash, I only think 2D.
Okay.
And I think that's Mega Man X, honestly. Although he never got an air dash. But I don't know. It's because when you have a 2D platformer, you're only going left or right. So when you dash and you move faster in one direction, it's a huge deal. It's a reinventing the wheel moment. Super Mario Odyssey has so many ways of movements. You can do parkour and weird shit. Like that hat dive you described is like one of 20 jump options Mario has in that game.
Mm-hmm.
I would put it at, I don't know.
I guess the question is, because I'm not feeling S from this.
No,
I like air dash, but I'm not feeling S from it. Because unlike double jump, I could see a game where there's no air dash and I'm fine with it. Example, fucking Metroid. Actual Metroid. You never get an air dash, but the levels are such that you never need it. So you don't feel like you're missing it. If you never had the double jump, rather the space jump, which actually that's going to be another thing that we rank. If you never got that, it would feel ridiculous. But never getting an air dash is fine. So I don't think it's S tier. A game always is improved by this. So the question then becomes, is the air dash better than jumping? Because if it's not, then we're on B. If it is,
we need to think about the hierarchy of needs pyramid. Like, you cannot air dash unless you have jumping in place. Jumping is, just by that, more important. It is a bedrock.
Mm-hmm. You're never getting in the air without the jump.
Right, because then you're just dashing. It's not an air dash unless you jump. Yeah. I would put it at C as an addition to jump later.
Okay. So we're okay with sliding dash, ground dash being B, air dash being C.
Can I say why I'm fine with that? Sliding dash is immediate. It's super fast. Like, I'm thinking of Mega Man X, you dash at the press of a button. Air dash, you have a jump and a dash. So there's wind up, less precise, slightly slower response.
That's pretty good. Okay. Yeah, I'm fine with that. So, okay. Air dash is at tier C. Incredible. Next up, triple jump. Let me tell you my initial thoughts about triple jump is you went too far. This is like the Tower of Babel. You got too close. Your hubris destroyed you.
You're making every jump feel valueless.
Yes. And, I say triple jump. I want to make it clear I'm not talking about Mario where you have to hit the ground between every jump. In fact, I should write that down as a mechanic that we should talk about. So that's not what we're talking about when we talk about triple jump. And in such hateful terms. I do hate it. It's too much. You know what it is, Joe? It's like the human mind, the pattern-seeking human brain likes even numbers. This is why music is in 4/4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We all like that. That's why we don't listen to music in 5/4. That's for fucking nerds. A jump? Okay, that's one jump. I get that. 2 jumps? 2. That's my favorite number. That's the number of boobies there are.
Very good.
Triple jump, what are we doing? Yes, it makes the jump feel like nothing. Why not just let me fly at this point?
Did you play Rogue Legacy? I'm pretty sure that game had additional jumps beyond 2. Like, you get 3 and 4 jumps and subsequent air dashes. And the thing is, like, if I have 4 jumps, I'm just smashing A, dude. Like, I'm not...
Yeah.
I'm not...
There's no thought it's not thought to it.
Mm-hmm. But a double jump, I'm a precise, thoughtful person.
Yes. And also, I want to make it, again, additionally clear. When we say triple jump, we don't mean Mario-style triple jumps. And we also don't mean up Bs from Smash Brothers. Those, you could say that that's a triple jump because it makes you go up after you've jumped twice. But no, up Bs are different.
But we are talking like 3 actual jump inputs produce this.
Yes.
So I would be willing to put this by E.
I might even go further and say F. Here's why. Can you think of an example of a game that uses a pure triple jump where like you press the jump button once, you go up, you press it again, you double jump, you press it the third time, you triple jump, and like that's your third jump and you're done. Like no one does this, and I think it's because everyone knows.
I do not have a specific game to cite, but I swear I've played Metroidvanias where I've gotten a triple jump and it opened up things the same way, double jump does. I can't remember it, and that maybe that's evidence because it wasn't memorable. Who cares?
I guess the question I have to ask, because it's definitely E. I'm not allowing you putting this higher than E. The question I have to ask to determine are we doing E or F is like, if you were playing a game and you were like, this is pretty good, it's like on the line, it's okay, and they put a triple jump in, would that make you like give it up?
No.
Or is it just like, ugh, and you keep going?
A triple jump is just like a nothing sort of addition. Like I do not have like the urge to bounce off the game because it has it. And for that reason I am leaning towards E, because we kind of said like F is supposed to be like a failure. And like the triple jump isn't like a failure. It's just like I'm not hooting and hollering about it.
Yeah, it's a bad thought. It's something that should have come out with, editing. Testing. Play testing should have determined like no one likes the triple jump, take it out. Don't design things around the triple jump anymore. Okay, I'm feeling you. It's not D because it's not neutral. I think it does sort of have the stink of like this is too much. You've upset the balance. I'm putting in E. I think E is the right move.
Gotcha.
Hell yeah.
Can I suggest the next one?
Yes.
I think it should be junctioning GFs. I think it's just very funny to go from
Dude!
You ever thinking that?
No, I'm not kidding. I was about to say that. I'm going to
Okay.
actually leave this part in because this is incredible serendipity. The next move is junctioning GFs.
All right.
That is to say, Guardian Forces, junctioning them.
So this is mostly a Final Fantasy VIII mechanic. If you're playing different video games, junctioning GFs doesn't come up too much. But what junctioning GFs is some really boring shit with summons. Can you explain in greater detail, Tom?
I will explain junctioning GFs. So, in Final Fantasy VIII, in order to upgrade your stats and have abilities like magic spells to use, and also specifics, and also summons, creatures to summon, you have to take a Guardian Force. This is the summon. Like Ifrit, the summon, he's a Guardian Force, and there's a number of them that you can get. And you junction the Guardian Force to your guy. Now, junction is a verb that means fucking nothing here.
It means only
when
trains.
I explain it to you, yes, when I explain it to you, you'll see that it never gets better. You kind of like stick the summon onto your guy, and then you are able to get some passive abilities. The more you use the GF has passive abilities like baked into him. And then the more you use the guy, they come unlocked. And then also, how do you have magic? Well, you find copies of a spell out and around, and you junction them to the GF who's junctioned to you. And the GF will only allow you to junction certain spells to certain ones of your stats. So better GFs will allow you junctioning spells to a lot of your stats. Some of them only some. And when you junction spells to your stats, they go up, but by different amounts based on what spell it is. And then if you use that spell, which you can use if you've junctioned it, the number of spells that you've junctioned to your stats goes down, so that your stat also goes down in addition. And they have this instead of
materia.
Yeah. Joe, I'm feeling D big time.
Oh, absolutely. The actual takeaway I have, and I gave up on Final Fantasy VIII. I played it as a kid. I was like, oh, it's military school, taught by the whip MILF. I understand. And effectively, what it is it just makes your stat values have equipment slots, which is not fun.
So here's why it sucks. One, the fact that you said, oh, it only really shows up in Final Fantasy VIII. Yeah, because once the game design community at large got a look at what Square Enix were cooking, they said, no thanks. And that was that. Also, like, the thing that I thought Final Fantasy VIII was pretty good. I thought the graphics and story were more good than 7. The story in 7, obviously, like the plot is like excellent and iconic, but like the pacing is all fucking weird. So I liked Final Fantasy VIII, but I also was like, this junctioning shit sucking fucking is no good. I know why they never did this again. It didn't make me bounce off the game. It wasn't like awful, but it was not good. And I think a lot of people who played it when it came out and were kids, they hated it because it is a
kid destroyer system. It is not for children. Like, there's just a level of detail that is annoying.
No kid is capable of understanding junctions. I think the fact that it's called junctions is like a big part of it, because if you're like a little kid and you're not, your grasp on like the finer points of English are not such that you see junction, you're like, I bet that's a mistranslation of a concept that you can't quite get across in one word in English. You're just like, junction. What? And like that, huh? I bet this isn't important. And you play the rest of the game not really knowing about it, which makes it impossible and not fun.
I would put it at D.
Yeah. Better than triple jumps. If you could triple jump in Final Fantasy VIII, then I would be one of the haters. Not even the fucking Fei Wong song could redeem it if that was the case. But it doesn't have triple jumps. So I think Final Fantasy VIII is good. But the junctioning is just...
It's a chore. It's also like Excel built into the game a little bit. I don't know. Like it's like materia exists in the like lore of the world as it's like it makes sense why both it is a game mechanic, but also like in the where magic and stuff comes from in Final Fantasy VII. Like, it kind of makes sense. Like, are guys talking about how they're like junctioning shit to their different stat? Like, it just doesn't have that same. Like, I don't know if immersion is the word, but like,
no, you're right. It doesn't have the game mechanic doesn't exist in the fictional world. Except, Joe, you having said that has made me think that I want to move this down to E, and I'll tell you why. Because they do try to make it part of the plot, and it's the dumbest and worst part of Final Fantasy VIII by a damn mile. So they do sometimes at the beginning talk about, like, in, outside of tutorials, like, I'm junctioning a GF, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Okay, that's kind of silly. But then later on, there is a cowboy who joins your party who has only recently started using GFs because he didn't go to child soldier training like you did.
He went to cowboy school.
Yeah, he went to cowboy school, so he hasn't been junctioning GFs. And he says about 2/3 of the way through the game, hey, how come you guys haven't ever talked about how we grew up together all as little siblings in an orphanage? Like, literally all of us lived in an orphanage together from like ages 0 to 12. Like,
yeah, no, I haven't brought this up in a while.
That?
But remember when we were orphans together?
Yeah, and they're like, oh, actually, I don't remember that. And the reason is, when you junction a GF, where do they live? And I'm like, what do
you remember? They live in your brain. They overwrite your memories. Is that really what happens?
Yep. And it's like, well, nothing's perfect. And thus we get like the reveal of all of our heroes have been like fucking the chosen ones because they grew up together in like the orphanage for chosen ones. And it's like, this is the dumbest shit of my life. This is so stupid. And a further reason that it's E is that if you are of the persuasion that you got to at least try to be optimal when you're setting up your RPG guys, I'm not going to open a spreadsheet and like get really into it, but I want to be at least like 80th percentile of goodness in build. The junctioning GF system has way too wide a swath of good to bad builds. So, like, if you are in the 80th percentile of good builds with the junction system, you have broken the game. And so that happened to me. It, like, never was even remotely difficult. Because, like, if you actually kind of know what you're doing and you're not a child who reads the description for junctioning and goes, what the fuck? And just, like, blast through it without paying attention. If you actually, like, do it like it asks you to, your stats are nonsense. You're like God.
Okay, E.
Yeah, E. Sorry, GFs. You're getting junctioned to the E tier.
Junctioning GFs is E tier from Final Fantasy VIII. So, I think we can call it here. We're making pretty good progress. I think we just need to do 2 or 3 of these, and we will have all the mechanics ranked.
Yeah, I totally agree. This is going exactly as I planned for a number of reasons. 1, it was perfect. 2, it was fun. 3, it was the best podcast of all time.
Oh, and the other thing is, we can make guests rank them.
We can, in theory. This is my worry, and it goes with what I was going to say for number 4, which is we're right on pace. Because how many game mechanics did we rank in this first segment? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So that is exactly what I thought we would do. We thought we would get through 6.
There's like 20 total, I think, right?
Yeah, so there's going to be, I haven't counted, but, like, we're definitely going to get through it in 2 more. What are the chances we're going to, like, fucking, 1, remember to set up a guest episode? I haven't fucking thought about that in ages. And then, like, the guest is probably going to have what they want to talk about. They're not going to want to spend half their guest episode ranking this. So I think, like, by the time we get a guest who will want to rank game mechanics into tiers, by the time we get there,
done them all. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because we only have, like, 2 more. In fact, if we wanted to do an extra long episode, I think we could probably get through the rest in 1.
Yeah. A 2-hour special.
And people probably will do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because we did 6, and if we look at the list, I can't really count this.
Yeah.
Scroll.
It's just like a really big number I've never seen before.
Probably 9. I'm going to guess 9.
Fuck.
Yeah, there's 9. So we're gonna be able to get through this really quick.
All right, well, that's it for the Sickos this week. When we do this segment again, based on our existing velocity, we'll probably do another 6 game mechanics. But hopefully, this new segment, which is not Queen Watch, it's a real one. It's not the one joke we rode into the ground and kept digging.
Mm-hmm.
It is a brand new funnel of content.
It's gonna be good. You're gonna love it, and eventually we're gonna have a real ass tier list that we're gonna share with you guys that will be the correct opinion.
Yeah, it'll be like a new Bible.
Yeah, in fact, actually, every game designer, because I know there's some people who work at game studios who follow us, we're actually doing your work for you, because here's how you're gonna make every game from now on. S tier, you got to put all that shit in. A tier, you're gonna want to put at least half in, and then from B to C, you pick and choose your favorites. D, only if it's absolutely necessary, and then E and F is just your stay away zone. Don't ever do this. Follow that instructions, and you're gonna make the perfect game every time. You're gonna be doing chrono triggers constantly. Yeah. So, like, once we're done, again, 1 or 2 more episodes, because I mean 6 times 3 is 1 second. 18. I think we have a few more than that. No, it'll probably be fine. Yeah, so that's all the time we have for Anime Sickos. This is a classic episode. It's going to go down in history. I've been Tom, an Anime Sicko.
I've been Joe, an Anime Sicko.
We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Anime Sickos. I've been Tom, a sicko. You can follow me on Twitter at TomHarrison19. Joe is also a sicko. You can follow him on Twitter at Sharia Uncle. You can follow Anime Sickos on Twitter at Anime Sickos, or email us at animesickos@gmail.com. Please leave us a review or something. I don't know. Tell a friend. Anyway, until next time, bye.